What's up, gamers? Welcome back to another hand cam deck profile. Today we have my undefeated Sky Striker deck profile from locals. That's right, I won the most prestigious event of all time, locals. Yeah. So here's the deck list. The idea behind the deck is that 2 hours before it happened, I was like, I'm gonna activate Mystic Mine because it's gonna get banned probably. So let's go. Yeah, very fun card, very funny. Let's just get into the cards. Obviously, I decided to play Sky Striker as the engine for mine because it's the one I own. There's like the new deck, Runic, which is maybe even better for just Mystic Mine nonsense, but I don't have that deck. So first we got the triple Ray, and then we got triple Rose. A lot of people play two Rose. The reason I decided to play triple Rose was because, like, when I was testing this deck literally months ago at this point, I kept running into the problem where I just didn't see a Sky Striker name, and then, like, that really sucks. Like, you really want to see mine and then a Striker. So I bumped up the Rose to 3 with this epic Gamer Gold Rare, and it helped a lot. Honestly, I still like this ratio. I didn't even I forget if I even ever had it come up where I didn't have a Sky Striker name, maybe like once, but yeah, having this many ways to get to it, plus we have the reinforcement of the army and the Hornet drones, so like odds are I have a way to get to my extra deck cards, which is really important in this deck. So I like those ratios. Obviously Rose isn't as good, but it's a Sky Striker monster, and that's all that matters. Hand traps. So we're on Ash, because of course we are. And Imperm, the generically good ones. I mean, Ash is kind of falling out of favor in the meta, but as a Sky Striker, you just play a lot of hand traps, so we may as well play the Ash. We got the triple DD Crow, which is pretty decent in the meta, but at the same time, I felt like this came up the least out of all of my hand traps. The card that actually came in clutch was Bell, and not for the reason I thought it would. This card just came up because I negated a Called by the Grave like 2 separate times, and it was like game-winningly strong just because my effect that I was trying to resolve, got to resolve because the Called by the Grave couldn't resolve. I think I'd still just keep playing 3. Now, something you might notice, these are all my hand traps. I'm not playing Valor. That was an accident. I just didn't include it in the deck, and it's kind of important for the Selene line. So one of these DD Crow, I'd probably just switch for a Valor. I don't feel like Valor's that good right now, but you still need to play it to get the access code easier. I kept having to jump through hoops to get to access code because I forgot to include Valor in my deck. um, then we have triple Mystic Mine because, of course, it's Mystic Mine. We have a cat. She's pretty good. She likes activating Mystic Mine as well. Oh my goodness. So then we have the terraforming. All right, she's chilling now. We can get back to the Mystic Mind gaming. So yeah, terraforming, triple Mystic Mind, metaverse, and then triple demise of the land, because we just want to see mine as much as possible. It's very toxic, but that's the whole point of the deck, is to activate Mystic Mine. Demise of the land came up a lot. That card's crazy. So those are the monsters, the hand traps, the Mystic Mine nonsense. So then we have the Sky Striker cards, just the engine. So engage, triple Widow Anchor, pretty standard. Card's crazy. Double Afterburners. With Afterburners, I felt like the second effect to pop a spell trap actually came up more than the first effect. I should have been citing the like Sky Striker back row card. I don't even remember what it's called, Jamming Waves, but I wasn't. So this was a great form of spell trap removal, searchable. I had spell trap removal in the side deck, but it's not searchable like Afterburners is. And we have multi-roll, crazy card. Shark Cannon was very good. Maybe I'd even bump it up to 2, but at the same time, I don't think I was ever missing the second copy. I could just recycle this because it's Sky Striker. You could just do that and easily search it. But yeah, Shark Cannon came up a lot, especially its effect to just like yoink a monster out of the grave. I used that to get the lethal a lot because, I was missing the Valor, so I had to take monsters in order to climb all the way up to access code. So that did come up a lot. And then one of the Area Zero. It's not as good as Mystic Mine, but I almost played what is it, set rotation, but then I was like, I really don't want to play more than one area zero, and like one set rotation, one area zero sounds awful, so we didn't do that. Um, then we have Mind Control, Change of Heart. These cards are just great going second. You can just grab a monster and turn it into like Zeke or something. It's just great. I actually didn't draw Mind Control at all today. And Change of Heart, I did draw. I don't even remember if it really came up, but I'd still keep playing them. I still think they're really good cards. And then finally, we just have the Dark Ruler No More that everyone's main decking this format. This did come up a couple of times. I mean, being able to Dark Ruler and then just like activate Mystic Mine is crazy. I used it to out an Avramax because it's immune to targeting, and like so many of the Sky Striker cards target. So I needed to negate it with Dark Ruler because it's like my one card that doesn't target. So that definitely came up. This card's great. So the extra deck is like super standard. I mean, most of this deck is fairly standard. It's the side deck is where things get weird. But we have triple Hayate, triple Kagari, triple Shizuku. It's the usual nonsense. You need 3 of each for the grind game. All 3 copies came up multiple times. And then Zeke for the what I've mentioned before. I mean, it turns 2 monsters into 1, which is great. Clears up your main monster zone. That way, if you change a heart something, you don't end up with a clogged main monster zone. You can just link it off, which also effectively gets rid of it. Kaina never came up today, but it does come up sometimes, so you still play it. Dark came up like a million times. This card got me to lethal just like constantly. This card is ridiculous. The fact that they printed like the light and dark link 2s for the Charmers is just insane. This one in particular, I was just grabbing darks left and right. Helk I never made because my Selene line is pretty scuffed. Here's Selene, here's access code. Yeah, not having Effect Veiler made going into Helk a lot less desirable, so I just didn't really do it. But, you know, when I throw Veiler to the deck, I definitely play it again. You know, assuming Mystic Mine doesn't get banned, which it probably will, and then this deck will be terrible. Side deck, so triple Nibiru. I don't think I ever sided this in, actually. I might even just consider cutting it. I don't know. It just like wasn't doing anything today. Triple Cosmic Cyclone. I did play a mirror match against Striker, and this came up because my opponent had a kind of a crappy hand. They like set 2 and passed, but they also had stopped my plays with their hand traps before. So I had like set 2 Cosmics and passed, but then because they set 2 cards, I just Cosmic them in the end phase, and then I just ran with the game from that point. But the real reason I was playing this was because I was terrified of Anti-Spell Fragrance, because a lot of people are playing that card right now, especially in their sideboards, and I wanted to have a way to like, okay, if they flip it, I can chain Cosmic Cyclone to get rid of it. And I was so terrified of Anti-Spell, I was also playing 1 Dust Tornado, which is probably not even the trap card I should have been playing, but I threw this deck together in such a haste, and it was just right there in my binder, so I grabbed it, because I was like, okay, it's not a spell that can get rid of Anti-Spell, we'll play it. I sided it in like once, and I did draw it, but it was like late game, and I already had a million resources because that happens with Sky Striker. So it never came up, but you know, it was funny, if nothing else. I would probably play what, like Heavy Storm Duster or something. I think that's what the card is. Instead of this, I still like having a trap card that can out like anti-spell, but Dust Tornado is probably not the right one. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. The real reason was just because I have the like dual terminal rarity Dust Tornado, which looks really cool. So you know you gotta play it. Then I had Teekboo. This did actually come up, so I decided not to main it, just to side it. But when I did side it, it was really strong. I sided in versus Tri-Brigade Sprite, and like their sprites, it screwed them up because they couldn't have more than 1 on the field at a time, and that basically just let me run with that game. So this card is definitely great in the side, I think. And then the funny cards. So I was playing the triple Toon Table of Contents, Toon Cyber Dragon, Chimera Tech in the sideboard. And I did side it in a couple of times, like against Striker. I was like, oh, you know, Striker just sits on cards in their extra. We could make Chimera Tech, I guess. I never got to do it. The one time that it did come up against Striker was I did do the Toon Table of Contents line, and then this just sat in my hand. But it still came up because just getting 3 spells in my grave instantly let me just like start turning engage into pot of greed immediately. And in the striker mirror, I'm really just trying to outvalue my opponent, or like, and that's what happened. Was I just kept drawing two every turn, and my opponent didn't have engage in rotation, and I didn't let them get to it. So I just ended up with like a billion cards, and they ended up with none, and I just won the game kind of as a result of that. So I guess it came up. It's still not good. I would not play this like in a serious sideboard. I just thought it was funny and I wanted to try it. But yeah, that's the deck. It sure is Mystic Mind. Demise of the Land is a card. Yeah, I mean Mystic Mind just needs to be banned. It's pretty dumb, but I figured one last hurrah, and it worked out. I didn't drop a single game. I didn't see Mystic Mine every game. There was like one or two I won just by playing like vanilla Sky Striker, I guess. I'm not carried, guys. I swear, I'm not carried.